Hello, cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And happy #Cold Beer Sunday.
It is Sunday.
It is a rainy day here in the Arizona area.
In the Valley of the Sun.
Valley of the Sun, which hasn't been this winter, which is fine. All rain is good rain when you live in a desert.
Yes.
We've been gone because of the holidays, and if you could tell, we're both trying to get over a cold that we brought back from our vacation. So we haven't done a whole lot, but now we're getting back into the flow of things. We're feeling better, and this will be episode 13 of TV Time.
TV Time.
Now, not a ton of TV stuff happened over the holiday break.
Right.
However... what did actually happen is pretty big.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into it. We're going to start off with, there's a petition right now on change.org to bring back Daredevil.
Yeah.
Now,
crazy.
Right. And it's when I just checked it before we started the tape, it was 88,000 just about signatures. Now, when I signed it last night, I was at like 62, and they were trying for 75,000.
Right.
Now they want 150,000, and they're at 88,000.
Right.
So they're.
I don't know what this petition's gonna do. I mean, is it something that can be changed with a petition? I don't know.
I don't know. What they're asking is that Marvel TV reaches out to Netflix to negotiate a new season that's beneficial for the show, the current format, and to continue with essentially the same cast, part of Marvel TV, probably at Disney, where they didn't say specifically, but
Right.
probably for Disney.
So did they tell you? I know Vincent D'Onofrio is the one who shared it or retweeted it or whatever.
He's been kind of on a campaign.
Who started it? Do
It
we
was
know?
somebody on Twitter. It was I actually saw the name on Twitter, and it's kind of spread out away from Twitter now.
Yeah.
It's 88,000 people have signed it, so it's become a bigger story. I find this interesting because Netflix has said now if they don't give out their numbers,
Right.
and it was from the metrics of using social media interaction and stuff like that was
Right.
talked about. It was the 4th highest rated show on Netflix, the last season of Daredevil.
Yeah.
And now Netflix has come out and said that they are going to slowly get rid of everything that they can't control that's theirs.
Right.
So the Marvel Universe is one of those. And then there's a contract also in place that says that they cannot use the Defenders themselves, so the main 4, for 2 years after the show is canceled on the Netflix thing. Now, that can be renegotiated, but
Disney can't.
no service can.
Okay.
No service can.
Right.
Now, with the buyout happening, Hulu is part of that, so that would seem like the most likely platform where it would drop if you were going to do Daredevil, Jessica Jones,
Right.
Heroes for Hire, that kind of thing.
Well, I don't know. Disney's going to have their streaming service.
They are going to have that streaming service, and so without really knowing anything other than they're not going to do Star Wars mid-level movies on the streaming service,
Right.
There's really no, is the Disney streaming service going to be just for kids, or are they going to have it broken up in different levels and stuff like that? But there's this petition, and there's momentum behind
Right.
it.
Like I said, though, I don't know. I mean, nobody knows except the people involved what's going on behind the scenes. They may be like, cool, glad you liked it. Nothing we could do about it at this point.
Right. Well, and there's also that, Marvel has pulled some miracles out of the fire before with the Sony deal.
Yeah.
And they share Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So
I just wonder if it has more to do with like the 2-year thing, like you're saying.
yeah.
Disney, Marvel has plans, but they need to get this stuff stopped
Right.
as soon as possible so that they can,
get through
2
the contract
years,
or whatever. And I really want everyone who's Michael Coulter and Charlie Cox and Kristen Ritter. I want all of them to come back.
Yeah.
And Finn Jones. I actually appreciate Finn Jones. He's not the Iron Fist, but I appreciate him. I would like to see all of them continue on with these characters. but because of contracts and lawyers and but it's been really cool to kind of watch as it's been going on. Now, Punisher officially drops January 18th. They had said January, but there was no date. We got a little teaser trailer thing Tuesday, and it's going to drop, and then 2 weeks later. Now, the Punisher stuff is separate from the Defenders people. If they cancel that show, he can show up anywhere else. It's because they figured out the thing.
The thing before that.
Yeah.
Punisher happened.
But it looks, I mean, go sign the petition. It's on change.org. So help it out.
It might help. It might not. But it doesn't cost you anything to do it.
Hey, they brought Sense8 back twice.
And they're trying to do it again.
Yeah, they're trying to do it again. Okay. So the big thing that happened, at least streaming-wise, while the break was going on, is on New Year's Eve, the night of New Year's Eve.
Right.
Millie Bobby Brown, Finn Wolfhard, Gayton, like everybody posted to Instagram this poster for Stranger Things, season 3. Now that we've all known that they've been filming it and stuff has been going on, and we've known that,
right?
And they just dropped this, like all of them dropped this poster all at the same time, at like 8:30 on New Year's Eve. And
well, it was 8:30 our time.
8:30 our time, right here in Arizona. Yeah. So it was leaving
been like
later.
10:30 New York time or whatever. Were they all texting each other, going, "Okay"?
Oh, they all text each other, anyways. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yep. Boom, yeah. So it was this kind of cool, Finn and Millie Bobby Brown are like holding hands in the poster, and there's fireworks going off, and it's the summer of '85 is kind of the theme. So then we get up the next morning, and Netflix drops this teaser trailer.
Yeah.
It's about the only way to explain it. It's even more than, it's not even that. It's like cryptic messaging trailer.
Yeah.
It starts off with Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve from 1984 going into 1985. It's the actual footage from it, and it's brought to you by Starcourt Mall. Now they've been dropping Starcourt since Jump.
Right.
They gave us the Starcourt Mall trailer.
Right.
Was that last summer?
I think that was the very first thing we got was the Starcourt Mall trailer.
I think, if I remember correctly, they dropped it at Funko Fun Days, or right before Funko Fun Days, because they had the Pops, the exclusive Pops for...
It was at Funko Fun Days, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the start of them bringing in Starcourt Mall, and then they released the episode names, and the last episode is called Battle of Starcourt Mall.
Right.
So there's, so the Starcourt Mall is going to be the big location this time.
Right.
Then we get some DOS-based code. We're going to cough a bunch, so I'm just apologizing right now.
Try not to.
We get this DOS-based code. Black screen, green coding, all this stuff, and they do like the word search thing and find, put all this stuff up, and it says, when yellow and blue meet in the west.
What does that mean?
Yellow and blue make green.
Okay.
When green in the west, I don't know.
know.
So here we go with all the code, all the codes and the different things. Then they go back to the Rockin' Dick Clark thing.
Apple Drop.
The Apple Drop. Sorry, guys. And then they go back to the DOS, and it's like this key prompt putting in execution codes and stuff like that for Lynx Corp. And at the end, it says execute or password or something, but it's Silvercat feeds, and they make a point of getting in close to Silvercat feeds.
And that's being typed
in
as you're watching. Yes.
And then they go back to Dick Clark's thing, and get about 10 seconds left to go. The screen starts to go upside down.
Yep.
And then it before the Apple drops, it goes to
the old style color bars
thing,
that
whatever.
you used to get when,
and it's upside down. It comes back, and the fireworks are shooting straight down and exploding instead of shooting up.
Yeah.
And then it fades. It says Stranger Things. Da 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 da.
July 4th.
July 4th, and it's their tagline this year has been, or at least it has started off to be, one summer can change everything. July 4th, 1985.
Right.
And then it counts to 2019.
Right.
So, decrypt.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm sure we will get it when we get there. I was kind of thinking, like the outfits that they were wearing. What's his name is working at the ice cream place or
Steve,
whatever.
yeah.
At Starcourt Mall, but I think weren't they like red and white?
Yeah, or blue and white, or like really, like really bad, like
Yeah.
yacht rock kind of looking.
Yeah, I mean,
kinda-
that was the first thing when I heard yellow and blue meet in the West. I was like, I wonder what their uniforms were.
Yeah. What we need to do is sit down and watch that one, this one, and I think there was one other like little one that they put out with something. I can't remember. I remember there being another one that was like, oh, that's not important, but it's Stranger Things. Everything's important.
Right.
But 1985, and I've heard that they're talking about that there's going to be a lot of Back to the Future discussion.
Well, yeah. It's 1985, right?
Right. So if you have the idea of Back to the Future, and we got the Upside Down, and we got the Demogorgon, or what would they call the big...
Demodogs? Oh.
No, the big thing that was overlooking that 11 kills at the end. Oh my God, we're terrible Stranger Things fans. What do they call that? I could see everything around it, but not the name. But that one, having that hang over them and stuff, and it was over the snow globe ball at the end and stuff. There's all kinds of stuff going on. July 4th. We have a ton of stuff going on between now and then.
Yes.
And I'm super excited about Stranger Things Season 3. I want to get there, but I want to get through. I want to actually enjoy some of the stuff that we're going through right now.
Yep.
And so.
Yep.
So we talked about at the end of last year that we were going to start something pretty big for us, and that is we have decided to start a Patreon.
Yep.
Now we're asking you guys to be patrons of our show, and there's tons of people out there asking for Patreons. Our simple get in the door level is $1 a month.
Yep.
$1 a month. You throw that away and change in the laundry machine every month. or lose it in the couch. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But what we're looking to do is improve our equipment, do better sound, do better video and that kind of stuff. We also want to change our set a little bit to kind of have a more instead of two crazy people sitting on a couch in a spare bedroom, we actually want to look a little bit more professional.
So we'll be two crazy people sitting on a couch in front of a green screen?
And a green screen or at a desk or a table or something.
Oh. Ooh.
The big thing is we want to work on our sound and we want to work on the camera. And we also want to be able to do a little bit more with cons and stuff like that. And to do that, we would like to have your help. We have a $1 level, a $2.50 level, and a $5 level. And $1 level, you get you all the exclusive access to Patreon. The $2.50 level allows you to vote in polls that we're going to do for movies that are classics that we need to watch because there are giant holes in our system. And then the $5 level, you could tell us every 6 months what movie to watch and we'll review it for Patreon.
Yep.
With some restrictions. I'm not watching The Road again. But we were asking you guys for help on this stuff because we think we have something and we want to build on it.
Right.
Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. Anyways, you can find us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/PopCultureCult. Go on there, sign up, and do all that stuff and help us.
I'm sure the stuff will be in there.
And all those stuff will be in the description. The link actually works, I think, because technology has been kicking my ass lately. All right, so she's wearing the shirt. We're finally caught up. Excuse me. We watched season 1 of Runaways so we could binge season 2 when we got back from Vegas.
Right.
And so I want to talk about season 1 for like 2 seconds, and then we can get into season 2.
Okay.
Because we're behind the curve on this. Season 1. Now we had zero knowledge of what the Runaways were, but everybody said this show was really good.
Right. And it was Marvel, so why not?
And it's Marvel. We tend to lean towards more of the Marvel stuff than we do the DC or Image or Dark Horse or whatever, that kind of thing. So we got Hulu, and one of the reasons we wanted to get Hulu was Runaways, because everybody said it was really good. So we watched the first season. We binged it over like a couple of days, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool genre idea of teen coming to age process.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know, Vampire Diaries meets Defenders.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels very like there's some stuff that you're like, that's probably a little beyond teen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, it was,
Most of them were seniors in high school when the season started.
Yeah.
There's the one is the youngest. She's 14, goes into 15 in season 2.
Yeah.
But the idea of the kids learning what their parents really are, what your parents are really like, happens at that time in your life when you become a teenager and you start learning what your parents
and
are
start
really like.
questioning who they are. And
Right. And so you're having that whole conversation with the backdrop of some of the kids have powers, and there's a bad guy who we're not really sure what's going on, who's manipulating the parents into doing things, but yet you feel sympathetic for the parents because they're being manipulated into doing things. There's a Scientology church. There's like all this different layers of stuff in season 1. So then we get into season 2, and they, instead of rehashing or making you, instead of doing the whole taking everything that we knew and flipping it on your head, like a lot of season 2 series do.
Yeah.
They took what happened in season 1 and expanded on everything.
Yeah.
Instead of flipping it on its head.
Yeah. And kind of went deeper, I guess, into what happened.
Yeah.
And what it meant. And because, I mean, at the end of season 1, you still have no idea really what's going on.
Right.
You're like, I guess I understand what's going on, but I don't really understand what's going on. So season 2 allowed them to, we're trying not to spoil it.
Trying not to, but there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. We watched a review after we get done with the season from Collider Heroes, because that's my number one source for comic book news. But Coy was saying it's almost like a 4-act structure. There's 4 different stories over the 13 episodes, and they all, one builds from the last one and builds onto the next one.
Yeah.
And they all, like, there's a couple times in this season where I was like, I don't understand what's going on, but it makes sense once you get towards the end. It's still really good, but you're still like, I don't understand what's going on.
Both of us a couple times were like, what is going on? All right, we're just gonna keep going, and then
we got to like there's episode 6, and they have something that happens, and we're like, that's like the end of the season, right? Like, still having there's like another 7 episodes still. I'm confused.
But every this was another thing that Coy brought up, was that each episode, one of the things that we talk about is like Arrow and Flash and stuff tend to be too long, and so there's a lot of filler episodes that nobody really cared about. And even though this was 13 episodes, which is maybe a couple more than sometimes they do, every single one of them was needed.
Yes.
Every single one of them had important information. There's a couple things that happened that I still question.
There's a couple character
that, like, why did we do this?
Yes.
Why did we go there? And I'm sure that they'll explain in season 3.
Right. No, absolutely. It's almost like it almost feels like they had 3 ideas and they couldn't figure out which one to do for the second season, so they just put it all together. And they made it work. I'm not saying that it was wrong, but they made it work. But they had like 3 different, like they have to wrap up what happened in season 1. They have to introduce something else, and then they have to introduce what's going forward into season 3. And when they did that, there's a couple of storylines where it's like, I don't, like that's interesting. Can we go that way? Except we can't. That was like handled in 2 episodes, and now that part is done, and now we're over here doing something else. And
we're not necessarily done, but just we're not. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of moved from different, which is fine. We're really positive on the series. The series was really good.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting back and going like, it's Stranger Things. Everything means something,
right? And
it's going to come back in season 4, season 5.
Oh yeah, when did we finish? Well, we had one
episode
left that we watched last night.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I mean, we were watching it Thursday.
Yeah.
And I've still been like, I keep every once in a while going back and trying to reprocess what I have. I have a theory on Brother.
Oh yeah, I do too. Okay, yeah, talk amongst yourselves. So, but overall, the season 1's really good. Season 2's probably even better.
Yeah,
and all of the kids are awesome. The stuff they deal with, being teenagers, having to deal with relationships and love affairs and coming of age and a quinceañera and and finding out who your parents really are and trying to figure out who you are and mental health and all the way they handle all of that is so well done. And then there's the parents who, if that's the way you're going to parent, I would run away too.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a dinosaur.
And you're like, if you haven't watched any of this stuff, like when we were watching those, like we saw the preview, I think at Comic-Con, and I'm like, there's a dinosaur in this show about teens.
How does this even make sense?
I don't understand. It makes complete sense. Like I'm trying to find an old lace shirt. I want an old lace shirt. It's awesome. So go watch it. It's on Hulu. It's definitely worth your time. Watch season 1. You can binge all of it now. And if you have just regular Hulu, there's some commercials like every 3 episodes.
Yeah, the commercials aren't bad,
and they're not long. And then season 2, they let it all out on the 21st, so it's really really good.
Yeah.
So our last thing that we want to talk about tonight is something that we talked about a little bit when the Elseworlds crossover in the Arrowverse, the CW Arrowverse, happened.
Right.
And that was the introduction of Batwoman, played by Ruby Rose. And they brought her in on the Arrow episode, and she was very well received. She was really cool. Now,
awesome.
I have my reservations about Ruby Rose as an actress. I think she can handle a lot of the physical stuff, but she's still fairly new in the acting game as it is. But it was a big deal that they introduced this character who is openly a lesbian in the comics, and they brought in an actress who is openly gay in the real world. And It was great representation. Berlantiverse is great about doing all of that stuff. And she was so well received that CW has asked and gotten a pilot episode whatever. They're good
treatment.
And it is coming to us. Berlanti is going to be executive producer. Big surprise, because he owns like his whole Berlanti Studios or whatever. It's got like 19 shows on there. Sabrina, Riverdale, all of the Arrowverse, Black Lightning, like all this stuff. It's going to be showrun and written by Caroline Dries, who did the Vampire Diaries. Now, Vampire Diaries at times was a little too, woe was me, angsty kind of for me.
CW.
It was very CW. Now, the Arrowverse tends to not be overly CW. They still have stuff, but it's not too overly.
Arrow was in the beginning.
But it's not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But
gotten
Vampire
mature.
Diaries ran for 12 seasons or something like that. So you have somebody who understands how to build a world and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
The big thing for me about this, though, is they've asked David Nutter to come in. He helmed a bunch of the Game of Thrones, but he also directed the pilots for Flash and Arrow, and he's going to direct the pilot for Batwoman.
Okay.
So he's got this resume of setting tone and making it work and everything like that,
Right.
and moving forward. Now, I don't know if I need another Arrowverse show. I'm probably going to watch it because I like Ruby Rose and I like the character. But what do you think? Does this make sense? Is there room for it? Let's
Oh, sure. I mean, what else does CW have going on right now other than
Rivendell and the Arrowverse?
and the Arrow? Yeah.
And Black Lightning.
They're just going to... Well, I mean, Black Lightning's kind of... DC...
It's
DC Comics.
That's
what they're doing.
Yeah, Black Lightning is interesting because I want them to bring them into the Arrowverse. They all exist in the same worlds, but there's no direct crossover with each other. And the reason there hasn't been a crossover with each other yet is because Black Lightning's filmed in L.A. and the Arrowverse is all filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah,
that's why there hasn't been a crossover yet.
Like Rivendell and Sabrina exist in the same universe, but they will never do a crossover because one's on Netflix and the other.
Yeah, they talked about having Sabrina come on a couple episodes of Riverdale, or some of the Archie and all of them kind of show up in Sabrina. But
that would be interesting how they do that. But
Angel showed up on Buffy when they were on UPN and
that was a big
deal. So
that was a big
anyway.
Mess.
Sorry.
I'm interested. I really liked the tone of the Batwoman episode of the crossover thing. Pilots are difficult because they, you go back and watch the pilot from anything and you're like, wow, it's so completely different than
I've rewatched the Arrow pilot 4 times and there's some really rough stuff in there.
Yeah. And Oliver's wigs.
They got much better with the wigs over the years.
But, maybe, I'm sort of interested, like I said, because of the tone and stuff.
I'm actually interested who they're going to bring in around her.
Yeah.
Because they need a good antagonist for her.
Yeah.
But they also need... The reason that Flash and Arrow and Supergirl and all these shows work well is you have the main character. You have Oliver Queen. You have Supergirl. You have Barry Allen. You have but the reason the show works is those characters interacting with.
Well, they all have crews.
They're good crews.
Yeah.
And so you have to have a good crew around her. You need a good, for lack of a better term, Alfred for her.
Yeah.
And you also, because if you're going to do Batwoman, you have to be able to say Bruce Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah.
We have to be able to talk about the Joker and Enigma and
they did.
They made mentions to it, and
they showed when they went to the prison, when they went to Arkham Arkham Asylum, and they saw the names. So I mean, that's kind of setting it up.
They did set a lot of that up. Although Mark Guggenheim was one of the door, and he's one of the executive producers. It was amazing. It's like, wait a minute. But with Gotham on Fox coming to an end after the season, you're going to have a hole for the Batman universe.
Yeah,
and Gotham, as cool as it has been, it's kind of like an Elseworlds version anyways.
Yeah.
Because
it's not the traditional Batman story.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you're not going to have that on Fox anymore, you can bring some of those characters in or references into the Batwoman.
Yeah, they could totally, I mean, obviously not this season, but maybe next season or even the next, because they made reference that he left Gotham.
Right
after
3 years ago or something like that. Yeah.
Stuff went bad. So, yeah, they could bring him in for an episode or big special.
They made a big deal of
two-episode
bringing
thing.
Superman into Supergirl, but he's
Yeah.
a secondary character, which makes complete sense on that show.
Right, and I don't think you could do that. I don't think he could be a continuing secondary character.
Yeah.
But you could bring him in for, like the big bad.
Right.
He comes in the last couple episodes to help her battle him, and then he's gone again.
And the idea of the show that they're going to be able to talk about women's empowerment and openly gay relationships. Now they kind of deal with that with Supergirl too, but Supergirl kind of takes the light and fluffy version. That's kind of what the show is. Now we don't watch the show, so we could be completely wrong with Supergirl. But every time we do watch it, it has a much more positive view of the world. I envision Batwoman is going to be much more like Arrow, very dark and brooding and having to deal with.
Well, Superman is light and airy, and Batman is dark and broody.
Right. So I like the idea. Again, I'm interested to see what they do, but it makes complete sense. This is where the internet worked.
Right.
And worked for good.
Right.
Everybody loved Batwoman. Everybody was pretty happy with Ruby Rose and her character. So with that, and she looks like the comic, so
yeah.
So throwing her in, it makes complete sense. So that's our episode of TV Time this week. We went a little longer than I think we wanted to, but we haven't been on for a while. We got some stuff to talk about. What did you guys think? Are you excited about Batwoman? Have you seen The Runaways? And tell us your theories on season 3 of Stranger Things. Let us know and go sign the petition. But most importantly, what we here, the Pop Culture Cult, need from you, the cult members, subscribe. Hey, if reaching out, touching me, touching you. Bah, bah, bah.
If you donate $10 a month, he will stop singing.
Not likely. What we need from you is subscribe to this channel and go to patreon.com/popculturecult and sign up today. $1 level. It's not that much, guys. $1 a month. It's not like $1 a week, $1 a day. For $1 a day, you too can feed us. No, it's $1 a month. It's really easy. So do all of that. All of our social media stuff is in the description. So is the link to Patreon. And until next time, happy #ColdBeerSunday. Good afternoon, cult members.